Hello everyone, today I will review a comic series with a theme. The reincarnation is quite good and attractive. Called Destroying Evil. The opening of the series is a profound contrast between light and darkness, good and evil. From ancient times until today, instead of playing the lottery today, the clown led 500 brothers to rob a bank to get capital, determined to recover both principal and interest. After a while of robbery, the clown also had 2 large bundles of money in his hands. By the way, he also took the mayor's wife and daughter hostage. But too dark for a bandit brotherhood. I love that we appeared with cool style. Just a squeeze of the head brought a young man back to his grandparents to watch naked cocks. Fate brought my family's brother face to face with that guy. For a while he chatted. The clown also recognized the main guy as an old acquaintance. The clown's face turned pale, his heart was filled with fear. But I still try to act like I'm fine. After a year of not seeing him, the main guy invited the clown to play together, and they gave it to each other. Punches and kicks of love. It was obvious that the clown had won the main brother. Take it to make smoked pork. After selling goods to 500 robber brothers. The main character has been featured on television, because his achievements in catching robbers are few and many are destructive. Although his actions were not popular with the people, he was very sincere. So I decided not to regret. After being summoned to the organization, he was completely ignored by his boss, Hang Seng. The main guy secretly thought he fought like a god, but now he has to sit and listen to curses like an idiot. The reason was also because he did not follow the original plan and also because he was black, but if he was red, forget it. After a while of listening to her lecture on ethics and how to be a man, he was asked to act like a true warrior. Must make wise decisions. He was given detention by her. That means being chained to the jackfruit tree and not allowed to move around. After a while of listening to her lecture on ethics and how to be a man, he was asked to act like a true warrior. Must make wise decisions. He was given detention by her. That means being chained to the jackfruit tree and not allowed to move around. While in a state of extreme pain, he received a phone call from Jeff. A close friend of Jeff wanted him to come and go with her to handle some work. The last time Maine met Jeff was 6 months ago at the meeting place and waited for more than 30 minutes but still didn't feel like he hated his head and seemed impatient. Suddenly Jeff appeared from behind, covered in injuries. What happened? Perhaps Jeff was attacked by a very powerful villain. Jeff, instead of being a hero, he can be an excellent comedian when he calls our main guy. But when Maine arrived, Jeff advised Maine to leave immediately. If I were the main character, I would have punched him dozens of times. While dying, Jeff sensed the danger of someone lurking to attack the two. Jeff jumped up and out of the enemy's attack zone, only to receive a fatal blow. Angry when his best friend just sacrificed himself, the main character risked his life to chase the assassin, going through 7-7-4-9 the road he finally found that bastard. Ironically, this guy was an acquaintance. Maine's. He is Jack, not Jack 97. Nor Jack the captain of the Black Pearl ship, but he is Jack, a warrior of the night class, using physical skills to influence opponents. After an initial exchange of words, he called more of his accomplices and said he would kill them all because he had betrayed the Lamberty organization. It's true that he's already dark and still has a lot of hair, he's just been grounded, his best friend has just been killed, and now the main guy is being suspected by the organization. Is a traitor. After a while of mouth-to-mouth fighting that didn't bring any results, the main character rushed into Jack's lagoon to prove himself. Is a pure person. Fast as a wind. The main rushed to punch Jack with a burning hand, but Jack was not a novice, he was an SC-level hero, so he was very good and that, dodging the main's punch within 1/2 of a note. Found the main is quite strong. So Jack and his teammates decided to team up with the main brother, both of them working together to create their ultimate move. Jack used a sword spirit move and the silver-haired girl used a freezing explosion move to overwhelm him. Main, it's true that a minute of impulsiveness is a lifetime of impulsive chili peppers. The multi-talented man accepts both and whatever happens happens. His left hand was cut by Jack. Love seems unfavorable to him. After all, Jack is an SC-level hero, so he is quite strong. The risk of blood was greater than the color of his brain. The main character rushed forward once again, determined not to be afraid of anyone, using the secret of hellfire, and this is also the last time he used this move. In a careless second he was slashed across the body by Jack, and so he said goodbye to Uncle. I have never seen the main character of any series die so quickly, with only 2 chapters. But it's already dead. Of course, that's not the case. With hatred, the main character was not willing to accept death. He wanted revenge, and so the author gave him reincarnated. It must be said that the guy in our house had bad luck. Wherever he transferred, he reincarnated into a male student, just when this male student was being fed water from the toilet by thugs. Hopefully after reincarnation he will be less miserable. After waking up, he couldn't believe he was still alive. The main guy only remembers falling into the abyss and then suddenly waking up here. After a few gentle movements to regain his beauty, the main guy finally realized he was living in another body. The mixed and confused memories of the 2 people keep circling in his head, making the main guy not know who he really is. While he didn't understand what was going on, suddenly a voice rang out, making him jump. A screen of black smoke appeared and called out his name, Cassian. That smoky shadow introduced itself as a noble soul from ancient times named Moros. Moros proves to be very dangerous when he can know everything because of Cassian. And it was Moros who saved Cassian's life. It was so random and full of surprises. That smoky shadow was given to Cassian by Jeff before he died to protect Cassian. It's truly a destiny. From now on Cassian and Moros will become each other's companions. They have the same goal of taking revenge on the Lampas organization and finding the Sword of Destruction. Cassian and Moros are walking together and looking around. Are you surprised? Cassian reads an extremely sensational news that Cassian killed Jeff for money. Cassian was bitter about being betrayed by the organization and being blamed for murder by the organization. Older brother. In anger Cassian unleashed the power of the devil, as he had half the power of Moros. Cassian's hands grew long, black claws like the fangs of predators. Stepping inside the building is a scene of ruins, destruction, broken glass everywhere scattered on the floor. The villain, a bomb-type player, was sitting and confiding with a mother and child who were taken hostage. They didn't want to listen because they were afraid they would pee, but he just kept talking non-stop. It's true that you shouldn't listen to cave stories, the drug addict explained, but in the case of this mother and son, there was nothing else to do. Besides, he still had Uncle Ho laughing to take pictures. It was truly devastating to his conscience. After 49 minutes of rambling, the villain felt tired, so he decided to blow up that pitiful mother and child. Suddenly black was turned off, the scene was dark. The villain sensed something was wrong, so he increased his vigilance. By chance and surprise, our main brother appeared right behind him. Skip the introductions, greetings and moral lectures to the villain like the main characters of some series. Cassiano went straight in and punched the bomb-type villain in the face. With the main's punch when in evil form, I believe that after this time, bomb-type players will spend quite a bit of money to redo his striker set. Cassian thought the bomber was responsible, but life is not like a dream and love is not like poetry. In some miraculous way, the bomber attached a bomb to his body. And then boom! He activated the bomb, a huge explosion occurred. I wonder if our main brother will live or die. With a gloating mood, he returned to the mother and daughter of the other family and began to confide in them again, about Marxist-Leninist philosophy, dialectical relics and even spirituality. He was about to blow up the hostage's body when the main guy suddenly appeared and promptly stopped him from activating the bomb. Learning from last time's experience, this time Cassian grabbed his hand completely so he couldn't put a bomb on him again. Like a manifest destiny, whatever must come will come. Cassian used all his strength to punch the bomber straight in the face. This time he probably wouldn't survive. Cassian hit the bomber with a series of punches. And of course punch without missing a single shot. It seems the main guy has completely lost his reason and is acting according to the instincts of a predator, his expression exuding a terrifying wildness. Suddenly a voice rang out, waking Cassian up. It was Moros. Moros tries to pull Cassian out of his insane state. If you don't regain a person's reason, Then he will forever become devil. After hearing what Moro's just said, the main guy almost peed his pants. Just a little longer, if you can't control your rage, your life will be over. After regaining his composure and reason, he rescued the mother and child who were being held hostage, then went to the bench to sit in the cool air, thinking about what had just happened. While he was upset because so many things happened to him in one day, Cassian received a text message from his sister. She reminded him to go home because it was already late and he hadn't come home yet. She was also afraid that he would be lured by them. Stolen. Cassian returned home in a confused mood. When he entered, what he saw was a hearty tray full of food made with her own hands. As his daughter, Cassian suddenly felt many feelings about home and family. He remembered the days when he was taken care of by Jeff. Cassian felt that he missed Jeff very much. Jeff was like, "Hey, that's your brother." After a few moments of reminiscing about the past, he sat down at the dining table to eat delicious dishes that he hadn't enjoyed in a long time, and ended a turbulent day for him with a tray full of family affection. After a long and deep night of sleep, our main brother woke up. He thought he would feel better today, but deep down he still wanted to return to the past, to return to his true identity and life. I have a chaotic state of mind. Cassian was getting ready to go to school when he met his older sister. Main seemed quite confused because he actually just met her for the first time. Not knowing how to start a conversation, the main guy had his sister press an ATM card into his hand. When he opened his eyes early in the morning, he was forced to spend a lump of money in his hand. I'm sure I couldn't close my mouth from laughing. After talking a few sentences, Cassian had to go to school, say goodbye to his sister, and start a new day as a high school student. With the spirit every day going to school is a joy, but how fun is it? Just entering class and meeting the blonde guy, the guy he punched in the face yesterday. Just a few polite greetings, but the blonde-haired young man was already sweating both above and below. Perhaps the blonde was still scared after the beating yesterday. At the same time, in a certain corner of the school, the onion-headed Tan Nian was not willing to be beaten by the main brother, so he went to a big brother in the school to ask for help. After the verbal agreement was completed, the money was gone. Purple Onion Head gave money to the gang to deal with Cassian. It seems that this purple-haired young man is really bitter about the main guy. After receiving the money, they followed the main brother from the time he finished school until he was on his way home, planning to find a quiet place to hide the main brother's basket. But it's true that young people are active. I don't know who is being bullied by whom. After receiving intelligence from the juniors, and receiving location sharing via Zalo message, the group of thugs started to set out, looking for the main guy to compete in martial arts. After a while of following, the thugs were lured by Cassian to an abandoned factory in the middle of nowhere. The main character was free to do his best and was free to exercise and gradually stretch his muscles. While trying to find the main guy, still in the same old style, he suddenly appeared behind them. It must be said that Cassian is a bunch of tire hooks. Every time he appears, he is behind the opponent. 5 thugs planned to gang up on Cassian. In my opinion, 5 or 10 guys like that aren't enough for Cassian to warm up his body, let alone 5. Like many other thugs. This big brother also loves literature and teaches morality to others. I wonder if these gangsters can get a score of 10 in morality subjects. Afraid that main brother wouldn't hear clearly, he even came closer to his face to continue explaining his morality, love, and lifestyle to main brother. But still in that bumpy style, Cassian didn't bother to say a word, just used 2 fingers to poke that bastard right in the eye. And he didn't forget to bang his head against the wall to test the hardness of his head. At the same time, test the construction quality of the project. As a result, the wall was intact but the other guy's head was covered in blood. When his accomplice saw that, he had 3 bouts of blood. Rushed like a crazy buffalo to avenge the big brother, but this guy chose the wrong opponent. With just a tilt of his body, the main brother avoided that tickle and punch. And the hippopotamus injured him with a sweeping leg kick. The boy rolled to the ground. Cassian kicked him between the legs, letting him know the end of pain. Oh, the young bird probably won't be hot anymore. Suddenly the big brother woke up. This time he was really mad. he now ran out of tricks that he had learned since he was in kindergarten to defeat Cassian. But Cassian's face did not change. Coldly looking at him and thinking to himself, it's true that his new mind hasn't experienced life yet. Then today I will spread it out to help you. Said to do it with just one right hand, the main brother had that big brother face down on the ground. It's true that you don't know how to control your own strength, and end up eating onions to the brim. While Cassian and his thugs were exchanging martial arts knowledge, there was someone secretly watching their every move. He was the evil mechanic. A madman who conducts barbaric experiments on the human body. When they saw the evil driver appear, the group of thugs seemed to have encountered a ghost. They ran straight, not daring to look back. It was true that the thugs ignored the weak and gathered around to bully them. Strong people turn tail and run away. Only Cassian and the evil driver remain. This guy seems quite strong and also quite dangerous, because he has a perverted hobby of experimenting on the human body. According to my analysis, this villain is distantly related to Echo in League of Legends, looking very similar. According to my prediction, the two are brothers with the same father but different grandfathers. He moved closer to the main guy. I expected him to take the solo to the middle lane. But no, this evil guy babbled for a long time, threatening the main guy like, do you know who opened this road? Who planted the trees here? Do you know who your father is? If you want to go through here, leave money on the street. This guy even carried a gun as big as AB-40, pointing it straight at the main guy's head. He pulled the trigger, but were you surprised? There were no bullets flying out, just a bouquet of flowers for the main guy. Maybe this name is 3D. He didn't intend to fight a duel, he gave flowers like this to probably invite Cassian to a sword fight. It's still the same attitude. Cassian doesn't care what he says, he sneaks out and leaves in time for dinner. Halfway there, his aggressive blood suddenly arose, or Reizu entered him. I'm not sure either. I only saw him turn on transformation mode and transform into a villain, to return to solo mid lane with the evil driver. Cassian rushed towards the villain. Still stylishly hooks the tire from the rear. He intended to attack suddenly to take over the Thuong Phong. Driver did not flinch at all. He used both hands to block the main's attack directly. Cassian attacked continuously. He used the secret move he learned yesterday, the Shadow Slash, to throw at the opponent, but missed. Driver flashed a few moves. He really belongs to man. Now it's the villain driver's turn to counterattack, summoning countless weapons from his right arm and then shooting straight at Cassian in return for the 2 punches just now. He summoned Diu Quang, a move with terrible destructive power. To block the attack, Cassian had to turn his dark sword into a shield to block the attack. Fortunately, he did not suffer any damage. Cassian felt extremely excited to be facing such a strong guy. After the last attack, Moros reminded Cassian not to underestimate the enemy. He has more than 1,000 magic points, 3 times higher than the main guy in addition to a large amount of magic points. He also has many powerful moves such as, Mechanical Lift, Mechanical Arm, Diu Quang and many other cool moves. With his reckless personality, he doesn't care, he's just afraid of not having a strong opponent to fight, not afraid of an opponent stronger than him. Seeing that Cassian was still unharmed after the attack with Light Dew, the drivers decided not to attack with non-magic moves anymore but rushed to compete with Cassian in Taijutsu. But narrative is Cassian's forte. He was trained in very methodical fighting skills when he was a member of the Lampas organization. He gently dodged each and every move of driver. Avoiding attacks forever is not the solution, or Cassian decided to no longer respect him and directly blocked his opponent's attack. With one hand he could block driver's two-handed smash, you can understand. How strong are you? He knocked the other guy away, then they both rushed at each other like 2 fierce tigers, determined to fight. One lost, one lost. Cassian rushed forward, dodged the evil driver's direct punch. He approached driver and unleashed a powerful punch. All his strength is concentrated in this arm. But driver dodged. He is a SC level villain, a quite high level in the evil ranking, only behind the disaster level, and of course he is also equal in strength to the main character. The battle between the two people must be said to be earth-shattering. causing the other villains to pay attention and come to join in the fun, to see who is causing chaos in this evil area. First is the evil Black Crow. Belongs to rank a dark attribute. The next person is a B-class villain with red eyes, he has the attribute of an archer, and the last person is a B-class villain, Black Hand, an assassin class. All three are driver's subordinates. When those three people appeared, seeing that they were too crowded and too dangerous, the main guy knew he couldn't win 4 even if he got the first victory, and then the main guy decided everything. They all switched back to martial arts. After a while of exchanging information, it turned out that it was a misunderstanding. The main guy thought that Driver was a serial killer. The main character became heroic and wanted to kill him, but in reality, Driver did nothing and became infamous. Bad. To save everyone time, Driver decided to say it straight out, that he was not a murderer. Making Cassian embarrassed, not understanding what he was doing until now. While Cassian was looking for an odd hole to crawl into the ground to relieve embarrassment, the Black Hand suddenly rushed to attack him from behind. This guy did not believe that someone like Cassian could defeat his leader. But a berated villain like him has no chance of touching the main character's face. It's true that a grasshopper kicked a car. With just one gentle movement, Cassian avoided that attack. Immediately, he turned around and punched the Black Hand guy back. This punch seemed quite strong. With just one punch, that B-class villain was on the floor in front of the bewildered and incomprehensible surprise of his other accomplices. After that punch, Cassian suddenly felt drunk, his head was dizzy. The reason was because his magic power was below 300, a number too small to continue fighting. The evil Driver seems to have lost a lot of strength, so he doesn't want to fight anymore. He wants to make a deal with the main character. He has a magic stone and he wants the main character to find the murderer for him. Of course, Cassian agreed because even without him telling him, he would hunt down and destroy that serial killer. To talk more about it, you understand that there are 2 types of magic stones. The natural green type is called Yin and Yang stone, and the artificial one is yellow called magic stone. These stones all have the effect of helping the user increase significantly. Tell strength. Magic. On the way home, Cassian held the stone in his hand, wondering if you should use it or not, because playing stone often causes hallucinations and especially makes the person using it feel intoxicated. Although very hesitant, in order to quickly increase his magic power, Cassian still decided to swallow it. He hoped he would be stronger to hunt down and destroy the serial killer. After about 3 minutes, the stone begins to work. A strong light emitted from his body like Super Zeta transformed, and almost like that, he changed one eye to yellow and one eye to blue. His magic power also increased significantly. After transforming, Cassian felt much stronger and more energetic. That is also the reason why all evil people in this world want to own and use them so much. Cassian asked Moros to check his power parameters to see how much he had increased. After checking, his magic power index increased from 300 to 350, which is an increase of 50 units, a number. Impressively. Besides increasing magic power, Cassian also unlocks a hidden skill, which is to create magic stones, more precisely, and separate magic stones from weapons made from magic stones. This skill is really powerful, like hacking a game. When Cassian separates the magic stone, he swallows it, increasing his strength. This process is repeated over and over. The main character's strength will be on par with the body of destroying the Universe 7. After returning to his small room, Cassian kept thinking about searching for clues about recent murders committed by a serial killer. He wandered the tabloid pages looking for information. Go to Google Maps to mark the locations of recent murders. All the murders happened in Gangnam district. From there he can localize the area to search. In addition, there is information exchanged via phone between Cassian and the evil Driver. Last time, Driver used this phone to conveniently provide information about the serial killer to Cassian. Based on information from tabloids and the evil Driver himself, it was of no use. Cassian decided to go out on patrol himself. Maybe on a nice day, he might have a chance to meet him, just to be sure when he gets out. Cassian's right foot stepped forward. At the same time, in the video game area, there are 2 beautiful girls playing a game of picking up stuffed animals. I swear to you, I have never picked up any stuffed animals while playing this game. I think these two girls are the same. While playing enthusiastically, the clock chimed. It was 8 o'clock and the pink-haired girl needed to go home because this was the curfew her brother set for her. They both ran home together. When they reached the door suddenly closed. The two girls had a feeling that something bad would happen to them. Suddenly a voice rang out from the floor. An evil man slowly appeared from the pool of blood. Perhaps this was the serial killer. The two girls were extremely frightened, and their limbs were shaking. The two girls did not expect to meet that murderer here. The two girls just knew it all loudly and hopelessly. I hope someone hears and comes to save me. I didn't know what to do. Then he appeared. He was a rain of blood, a grade B evil with a magician attribute. With a hideous face, he would kill these two girls right here. It's so random and full of surprises. Somehow our main guy is patrolling this area. He heard sound somewhere around here. Hopefully our main guy will come in time to help rescue those two girls. Meanwhile, the two girls are facing a serial killer. They are really confused and don't know what to do. Suddenly the red-haired girl remembered what her brother had told her. Her brother was a hero who had fought with Cassian in the first episodes of the series. He told her to press the emergency device button when in danger. When she presses that button, her brother will know that she is in danger and will go there immediately to rescue her. The red-haired girl pressed the device and hoped her brother would come as soon as possible. The best thing to do now is to buy time to wait for her brother to come rescue her. The girl asked for the house address, phone number as well as the purpose of his murder. As you all know, evil people only do what they like, they don't care about anything else. The same goes for this blood rain guy. He kills people simply because he likes it. He likes the taste of fresh blood and the victim's dismembered body parts. To him, those are the most wonderful things in this world. This guy actually has quite perverted hobbies. He slowly walked towards the two girls. To take away their lives, the two girls stood rooted to the spot due to fear. Tak Hong threatened him. Her brother is coming. Her brother is a hero and would have killed him within 3 seconds if Nu hadn't run away immediately. The evil man of the rain of blood just smirked. He was not afraid of the threats, but on the contrary, they showed a challenge and wanted to kill her brother as well. He was also happy to see the look on her brother's face while she had become a corpse. Without further ado, the evil rain of blood suddenly struck, killing the redhead's companion. A jet of blood at the speed of a bullet shot through your body. In the red hair's bewildered surprise, it was unbelievable that this guy could act so cruelly. He held his red-haired friend in his arms and cried without a sound. The next person he would kill would be her. He wanted to show her brother the sight of his sister with only a bloodless corpse left. At this point, the red-haired girl was really desperate. She closed her eyes tightly as if she had given up everything, accepting that her fate had to end here. Suddenly a very loud voice rang out. Damn guy, she was startled and opened her eyes wide hoping it was her brother coming to rescue her. It's not her brother, it's Cassian, our main character. He finally arrived, a little late, but it's still better than never coming. Cassian rushed straight towards the bloody villain with terrifying speed. At the same time, he also threw it in one direction. It must have been a shadow slash, a move that he had to practice hard for many days to get. The bloody villain used his hands to block the attack without changing his face. Perhaps this guy is quite strong compared to his B-class villain. Cassian continued to rush to punch him, but he was still able to block his move, making him quite surprised. The evil guy thought that Cassian was the red-haired girl's brother. He didn't expect that such a beautiful girl would have an evil brother. As for the pink hair, she also doesn't know who he is. This was the first time she met Cassian. Perhaps she was captivated by his handsome and cool appearance. The blood villain had never seen these strange moves before, nor had he ever met him before. He thought to himself, could this be the mysterious villain who killed the bomb villain? He knew that the person before him was a very strong guy. If he fought with him, he would probably lose his life, so the bloody villain decided to run away. He decided to leave to preserve his life. The bloody villain did not forget. Set a date to return to kill the red-haired girl. Cassian rushed forward to hold him back, but he was a step too slow. the blood villain had already dived into the blood pit to escape. The main guy was about to chase after him to beat him, but the red-haired girl called him back asking for help. Maybe she wanted him to help save her best friend. Cassian also happily agreed to stay and help those two, because he is naturally a kind person who helps others when they are in trouble. After bandaging the wound and asking Moros to check the condition of the blue-haired girl's wound, this wound is not life-threatening if treated promptly. When he felt everything was okay, Cassian decided to chase the bloody villain again. He was determined not to let this guy have a chance to escape. When he left, the red-haired girl felt a little bit reluctant to let him go. He left, but I predict that the two of you will meet again in the future. He ran like a ninja on the roofs of buildings to follow the traces left by the bloody villain. Suddenly Cassian realized that something had been following him all this time. That was a remote-controlled plane of the evil Black Crow. Her sudden appearance made our main guy startled. I don't know what the purpose of this group of people is following him. Cassian remembered this girl. She was one of 3 subordinates of the evil driver. They had just met the day before. How could they not remember? She introduced herself by her name Crow, a name that suits her very well, a woman with a big and round soul. Crow also didn't forget to ask for Main's name, but now he doesn't have the name of a person. Evil. Crow said thanks to these remote-controlled drones, the evil driver's group was able to track and find the location of the serial killer. Actually, the evil driver has been following this guy for a long time. On the way to work, Crow also had the evil driver bring Cassian a gift. I wonder if this driver already likes the main guy. Yesterday I gave flowers, today I give gifts. Crow threw the gift box at Cassian. He quickly grabbed it and intended to open the box, because he has a very curious nature and this and that. It's a magic stone, a yellow artificial one. The evil driver gave him 3 of the best ones as a reward after Cassian defeated the serial killer. This is truly a gem. Pretty good price when agreed with driver. News about the attack on 2 female students yesterday was quickly reported by the media early the next morning, because this is a very hot issue today, attracting the attention of many people and the Lampas organization. Last night when returning home, Cassian tossed and turned, wondering about the magic stones that the evil driver gave him. It made him sleepless all night, but when he woke up in the morning, he still had to go to school as usual. Cassian greeted his sister and walked quickly. As he walked, he thought about the murderer for his revenge on the Lampas organization and how to become stronger. After a while of thinking, Main decided to go to Truong Sa through the high school where the 2 female students yesterday were studying. Main hoped to have some clues about the serial killer. The name of the blood rain. The main guy received a message from the evil driver. He gave him some useful information. The pink-haired girl yesterday was the younger sister of the grumpy chaplain. That guy went to the same school and also used to solo with Kasia. By the way, that pink-haired girl's name is Nian. Nian said it was Cassian who saved her, making her brother very surprised. In his mind all evil people in this world are evil, but now he is really curious about Cassian. I don't understand why this name is so good. Cassian went to the high school gate to take a look and stood there observing for a long time, but standing for a long time made his legs tired and thirsty. So he went to a nearby convenience store to find something to drink to quench his thirst. When he came here, he met the store's name Thursday Non. This guy had a handsome face and a tall figure. But when he saw him, Cassian felt there was something wrong about this guy. Cassian took a can of Coke to drink to quench his thirst. When he went to the payment counter, he encountered Thursday Non. This time he was able to observe him meticulously and thoroughly, from which he was able to notice some problems. Unusual title of this name. While paying, he accidentally discovered a book that this guy was reading. The book was called The Priest of Corinth. This is a classic work about vampires. Under the guise of being a cashier, he is always dedicated to customers and always kind to help the elderly. No one can think that he is an evil man. What a perfect cover, right? Friend. But all those fake actions cannot escape Cassian's eyes. Just by looking at his eyes, Cassian knows that he is definitely a villain, but he is not sure if he is a serial killer. Blood rain or not. He decided to sit and wait for him to do it and then follow him to see if he was the murderer he was looking for all along. While following him to the main road, a boy was almost hit by Mr. Toloy. Cassian quickly killed some of the boys to avoid the accident, but because of this, he lost track of the cashier. After a while of blushing, combined with his super dog-like sniffing skills, Cassian was able to track down the small traces he left behind, and he went to a residential area to perform guava peeling. He figured he would encounter him and maybe have to fight him here, so he decided to go to the public restroom to transform and play magic stones. He hoped that after playing the 3 stones, "Driver would if you give it to me, you will be much stronger and have enough magic points to fight that murderer." After smashing all 3 stones and completing the transformation, Moros used his appraisal eye to check how Cassian's new strength and skills were increased. The information panel is turned on. Currently, his magic points index is 470, and at the same time he also unlocked 2 new skills, darkness and shadow. Increasing magic points will help develop other skills that Cassian possesses. The first time I played a Cassian stone, my magic power increased by 5 to 10 points. In theory, this time, if I drink 3 pills, my magic power will increase by exactly 500, but in reality, it's only 470. Increases each pill by 40 points. Less than 10 points with the first time. Cassian was quite puzzled. But an hour explained that Cassian's body had developed the ability to resist magic crystals. The next time the magic stone is used, the power of the stone will decrease even more. After using ice for a long time, you will not see any changes. From now on, Cassian understood that playing stones would not make him stronger. At a certain point, playing stones would no longer have the effect of increasing magic power. It was from this moment that he understood why. The evil driver gave him so many magic stones because he knew what these stones were. Knowing people know that we have won 100 battles, Cassian asked Moros to evaluate the bloody villain's abilities, so that he could know more about him so that he could have reasonable and wise tactics when encountering each other. He is a rain of mind-attributed blood, his main skills are blood sword, blood halberd, hypnosis and intimidation. Besides, this guy's magic points index is also very large. He owns 1,000 magic points, twice as high as our main brother. Right at this moment, in a dark corner, Blood Rain is gathering his subordinates, preparing to commit crimes. I'm afraid there's going to be a big fight. Right now at NEUM hospital, she was sitting next to her best friend's bedside, taking care of her friends a little but looking at guys a lot. She was looking for information about Cassian, hoping to have some information about him to say thank you. While she was deep in thought, suddenly 3 doctors came to call Nian to do some facial tests. I feel like there's something wrong with these 3 doctors. If I call Nian for a test, 1 person is enough. There's no need to drag 3 people. It's very abnormal. On the way to find the villain, Cassian took the time to practice the 2 new moves he had just learned, when suddenly his phone rang, announcing the location of the Bloody Rain Man. Recently, thanks to his quick thinking, Cassian installed a GPS locator on him, so he can track him no matter where he is going. Currently he is at the hospital where Nian and her friends are being treated. There, as fast as the wind, he rushed to the hospital using the 2 skills he had just learned. It was true that the beautiful teacher was in danger. He ran off and lost his sandals, but he did not bother to turn back to pick them up. At this time, Nian was led out by 3 doctors. She did not understand why they brought her here for testing, and doubts began to arise in her heart. Suddenly the bloody villain appeared from behind, still with the trademark words "You will die in my arms." He made her jump in fright, trying to scream and run away. But the 3 doctors were not scared at all. They showed a hideous face and walked towards her. Perhaps these 3 doctors were hypnotized and controlled by the evil blood. Is acting under the influence of evil blood. He came closer to her, used his hand to lift her chin and said some kind words. But Nian was not afraid. This time she was braver. She quickly pressed the emergency button from the device her brother had given her. To tell him to come save me. I was busy chatting about the game when suddenly a voice rang out, "Put your hands away from her, that bad guy." Yes guys, our main guy has appeared. He appeared like a god. Hope next time I won't be scolded like an idiot anymore. Cassian quickly flew over Nian's head, rushed to the villain, used his Fury Dragon kick to kick him in the face, to his shock and surprise. Kicking them in the middle of the villain's face, the blood was thrown straight into the wall. Behind him, the wall cracked and he couldn't see anything. Not giving him time to breathe, Cassian rushed forward and punched him again in the face, making this guy stunned and dizzy, but that was not enough to defeat him. Was suddenly attacked, but the blood villain did not flinch. After calming down, he decided to counterattack and fight back. With his blood sword, the famous blood sword, the blood villain fought directly against the main character. The main brother didn't even bother with the father and son, he directly used his fist to rush at him. After the attack just now, it seemed that no one was injured. The two faced each other. The evil blood used his hypnosis technique to hypnotize Cassian. If successful, it would be considered a complete victory. But hadn't just looked into Cassian's eyes for 0.1 seconds. Haven't finished hypnotizing yet. Then the blood villain was grabbed by his face and pushed straight to the ground. It seemed like Cassian's speed had been raised to a new level. He is much faster than before. After that first blow, the bloody villain lay flat on the ground, and was scolded by Cassian. Main said, "It seems that up until now you have lived very satisfied with your despicable desires. Now is the time to pay the price." Cassian decided to throw a powerful punch straight into his interface like thunder. Then suddenly he had a cunning, mischievous smile. He said Cassian could never kill him. Cassian didn't understand what this guy was smiling for. I decided to punch him in the mouth to make him hate me for daring to laugh at him. Cassian punched down hard, but he promptly turned himself into a pool of blood and escaped. Just as he said, if Cassian only used physical moves like normal punches and kicks, he would never be able to kill him. Can avoid any physical attack by transforming himself into liquid form. And so he disappeared, to the bewildered surprise of Cassian and Moros. He wished that he could use magic like his identity before reincarnating. Perhaps this blood villain was boiled by him. Boil until it all evaporates. Cassian immediately chased the villain using GPS navigation. Maybe he hadn't had time to run far from here and he still had a chance to hit him one more time. As soon as he ran out the door, he encountered two heroes. One was Nian's brother, the other was his teammate. Maybe the main guy can't leave easily. It's true that heroes are different, they don't talk as much and at length as villains. As soon as they saw Cassian, the young man in yellow pulled out his sword and slashed at him. His special move is flying sword. This move seems what's quite good and this and that. Cassian did not mind this guy, he rushed straight towards him and directly punched the sword he threw with his hand. That sword was bounced back and returned to the golden hand. The yellow shirt realized he couldn't defeat Cassian easily, so he called his teammates for help. The red hair was standing there dumbfounded because he didn't know whether to fight or not. Because it was Cassian who saved him. His sister, or in other words, Cassian is his brother's benefactor. Under the urging of his teammate, the red-haired brother also had to take action. The red-haired man launched a fireball at Cassian. This move is called Fire Duel. Cassian immediately used the Dark Kim move to block his attack. He has red hair again. Taking advantage of the main character's vulnerability, the young man in the yellow shirt immediately went around behind him and stole a slash, making the main character unable to change his clothes in time. Cassian was injured in the stomach, but luckily it was only a slash. The skin graze did not endanger his life. The red-haired man took advantage of the opportunity to attack Cassian, then suddenly he remembered what his sister said, Cassian saved her. So the red-haired man hesitated for a moment and then decided not to attack. Taking that opportunity, the main character immediately took advantage of the opportunity to escape, so that he could still have time to chase the bloody villain. He turned on flash and also turned on speed to slow down. In just 0.1 seconds, he disappeared first. Afraid of the surprise of those two heroes, Cassian followed the trail left by the blood villain. He was now wandering the streets. It seemed he was seriously injured. He needed to recover from his wounds. He needed to drink human blood to achieve his goals. So the blood villain went into a nightclub. There are usually a lot of people coming and going for entertainment, mainly young people, but this evil guy especially likes the blood of young people. They are really fresh. Full of energy, this helps him recover faster. The bloody villain massacred everyone in the nightclub. He drank their blood to restore himself. The scene here was tragic and disgusting. blood and corpses flowed all over the floor. The scene is extremely haunting to the human mind. The blood villain was happily enjoying the blood feast he created for himself when the two heroes just arrived. They were extremely frightened by the scene here. If it were me, I would probably vomit for 3 days and 3 nights. If there really was a face there. The two heroes used the worst words to curse directly at his satisfied face, but he didn't see anything wrong. On the contrary, he gloated at everyone's unbearably miserable faces. Suddenly, the villain suddenly attacked the two heroes. He rushed forward with a blood attack and hit the yellow shirt hero straight. This yellow shirt guy was very strange. He was blowing the whistle in one hand and holding a baton in the other. He only used his sword. He pulled out his sword and slashed away the bloody spear that was coming at him. Then he winked to let his teammates understand that they wanted to attack him together. Both of them rushed up to meet this guy. The red-haired young man intended to use the fireball technique to attack, but was stopped by the yellow shirt man because there were still many hostages in the room. If he used that move, everyone could be burned to death, helplessly. The red hair had to withdraw his technique. "You're so talkative." The guy in the yellow shirt was secretly attacked by the villain. He sent him flying into the wall and got hit quite painfully. The guy in the yellow shirt lost a lot of his fighting ability. Not giving the yellow shirt hero time to react, the blood villain immediately added a special technique, which was the blood suit. He hit this move straight on the yellow shirt's face, sending him up on the scoreboard. I thought how strong this young man was. With just 2 blows, you will have to destroy the love affair. Seeing his teammates being tormented by the blood villain from the beginning of the match until now, the red-haired hero could not stand aside and ignore him. He rushed to attack the blood villain to rescue the yellow shirt guy, because he saw the yellow shirt guy. He's eaten too many onions, so let him rest a bit, get some strength and eat more onions. When the punch was just approaching, the bloody villain only turned around to dodge the attack. He was much stronger than before. Because this guy drank the blood of more than a dozen people in a nightclub, the red-haired hero was also quite surprised why he was so strong. Before he could regain his composure and see what was going on, the red-haired villain was immediately attacked by the bloody villain. The villain immediately launched a scratch attack. With the sharp claws on his hand, the red-haired hero had no time to dodge. He was scratched by him and injured his ribs. It was quite fortunate that the wound was just a superficial wound. If it had been a little deeper, the villain would have cut off the red-haired hero's ribs. He probably intended to ask the red-haired hero for some ribs to cook. Sweet and sour here. The red hair seems helpless. I didn't expect to fall into such a difficult situation. I wish there were no hostages in here so I could freely use all my strength to defeat the villain. This blood. But hearing the wish in the red-haired hero's head, this villain gave him a chance to show off his full strength, by going to the rooftop solo, where the red-haired man could freely use it. Without worrying about affecting the hostages, because he did that. Simply because he wanted to drink the blood of a hero, when he revealed all his abilities. It was like opening a flag in his stomach. The red-haired hero was 100% confident in his strength. He also believed that he would give the evil man money to give him a full meal. He used his fiery punch and his eyes. He was filled with anger and indignation. He rushed straight towards the bloody villain. The villain jumped into the air to dodge the attack in front of the red hair's surprise. At the same time, he also threw a blow at the red hair's direction. His hand stretched out and grabbed the red hair's shoulder tightly. I expected something was going to happen. It's not good. At the same time, the main brother arrived at the nightclub and witnessed the entire scene here. He had to exclaim that it was so sick. Blood and bodies were scattered everywhere. On the wall were a series of claw scratches. He guessed that they were probably left by the bloody villain. While observing the room, he discovered a young man in a yellow shirt sitting near the wall. He seemed to be seriously injured and was about to die. Mr. Tien came closer to see, and it turned out that the man in a yellow shirt was still alive. Just while he was unconscious, the main guy also saw this guy's Tan Hung right next to him with his curiosity and questions. The main guy picked up the sword to check it out and then took it to use. I heard that this idea was made from magic stones. With the motto of life, picking up fallen things and putting them in your pocket. Cassian picks up the sword, up and separate them into magical stones to increase your magical power. Look at the beautiful sword, but when separated there are only 2 pieces. Although a bit disappointed with the quantity, Cassian had to click his tongue and swallow it temporarily. After swallowing these stones, they immediately exerted their power, giving Cassian a large amount of magic points. He seemed to have become a completely different person, stronger, cooler and also much more evil than before. He was full of energy and just wanted to immediately find a bloody villain to test his new power. At this time, the battle on the rooftop between the red-haired hero and the bloody villain is still going on fiercely. The red-haired hero has nothing but fire skills. It seems that he will be caught by the villain and will hardly have the advantage. This time the red hair threw a fire punch again, but it was too easy for the villain to block. That little bit of fire cannot hurt the villain. He was actually much stronger. The difference in strength was also clearly revealed. When the villain held the red-haired man's hand tightly and gave a smile full of contempt for the red-haired man's power, he summoned a huge fireball, hitting the opponent straight in the chest. The red-haired man could not avoid this attack because he was holding one hand tightly. That attack was really hard. The red-haired man was furious. His chest was unable to breathe, because his lungs were seriously injured at this time. The red hero collapsed, clutching his chest tightly. He thought this time it was really up to the count. While in despair, he heard a familiar voice, "The sick guy is crazy. Stop." Again. Yes, that is our main character Cassian. To the main character, that villain is nothing more than a perverted mosquito. This is the 3rd time Cassian has encountered him. There's a saying that's too bad. I think this time that sick mosquito won't be able to do it. To escape, Cassian certainly had careful planning and preparation. Unlike the previous 2 encounters where they didn't say a word, Mr. Main rushed in to scoop him up, but this time it was different. They fought with each other. Cassian tried his best to insult the other guy as a loser, and he doesn't care about what the main guy says but instead focuses on gossiping about the new power. Cassian listened to him gossip for a while until he got bored. He scowled and shouted, "You dirty mosquito, I came here to fight, not to listen to the cave tell stories. If you have delicious, then rush in and look for it. Eat." Hearing that, the evil mosquito went crazy and he summoned 4 fire hooks, 4 times more than when he fought that hero. Maybe he wanted to show off his new power to make our main hero turn pale. Here, he immediately transformed them into 4 blood spears, launching them straight at him. The 4 spears released were not to cause damage but they acted as chains used to bind the opponent. He was able to tie Mr. Main's hands and legs. He wrote that Mr. Main had been tricked by him and was now completely under his control. Not losing the opportunity, the evil mosquito rushed forward as fast as lightning. He used his claws to slash Cassian's body, intending to knock him out. But were you surprised, old man? That's just the shadow that the main guy left behind. Now who is fooling whom? Cassian stood right behind him and threw a sudden punch straight at his face. He couldn't dodge at such a close distance and at such a fast speed that it was impossible to avoid being hit. Cassian said, "Show me your invincible ability. When will you show me your super VIP pro strength?" His mouth spoke but his hands did not forget the task. He punched the evil mosquito directly in the face. With this punch, the villain flew dozens of meters away and rolled around a few times before landing. Probably after that punch, the villain was completely dead, but unlike the previous 2 times, Cassian could not defeat him with his moves. Physics. The evil guy grumbled at the mosquitoes and crawled up. He knew he couldn't fight Cassian himself. He planned to run away. If he stayed here and messed with him, Cassian would definitely take him to the altar to look at the naked chicken. Learning from the previous 2 times to let the evil mosquito escape, this time Cassian tied him up with a shadow pillar move. This is a move that he recently practiced, and this move he practiced to deal with him alone. The dark patches slowly wrapped tightly around his body, unable to move. Cassian used his ultimate black fire technique. He roasted him into a smoked mosquito. This time he really had no way to escape. After swallowing 2 stones from the yellow shirt's sword, Cassian's magic points increased to 520. At the same time, he also developed a new attribute in addition to the darkness attribute, which is a dual attribute that allows him to use more. The moves outside the dark system are quite beautiful, aren't they? Finally, the confrontation between Cassian and the serial killer, the evil mosquito, ended on the news the next morning. The long days behind bars would put an end to his sick hobby. All the credits and achievements when destroying this villain were received by Grumpy, the red-haired hero that I often mentioned. Grumpy accidentally received all the credits and achievements when destroying the villain. Hey, this is something your superiors forced you to accept. But honestly, I don't care, I don't want to accept it at all. Today was a normal day for Cassian. He went to class as usual while his classmates were gossiping about the evil mosquito being defeated. Cassian sat there and thought about the evil group, Driver. He was quite curious about this group, so he decided to go to the evil area and meet them. Cassian wants to receive another reward. He is no longer interested in the magic stones because he has swallowed a total of 6 magic stones. Now even if he receives more magic stones from the evil Driver group, these magic stones will not be available. Many effects on you. Right now in the area where the evil Driver group lives, 3 strangers have appeared. Who are they? Driver invited them here, and what is their purpose? The first guy has a tall appearance. His name is Royal Garnet. He belongs to the magician class whose attribute is metal. Currently according to the rankings, he is a class A villain. The blonde girl is Aroma, belongs to the hunter class. Price attribute and also an A-class villain. The blue-haired girl is Hoed of the mage class. Her attribute is poison. She is an A-class evil. All 3 of them came here with the purpose of observing the battle between Cassian and the evil mosquito. What is their real purpose behind when they know Cassian has dual attributes? A very rare type of attribute. And very strong. Cassian goes to the area where evil people live, the area where evil exists, not to imprison evil people but to avoid wars between evil people and clerics, where evil people can move freely. Everyone lives in peace. At the appointed time, Driver was already there waiting for Cassian, as if he was also waiting for him to arrive. He invited Cassian to go to the Paradise Club to drink juice, and by the way, pay the main brother the reward after capturing the bloody villain. Those were 2 artificial magic stones. Cassian was very curious as to where he got so many magic stones. Without asking, the club owner spoke up and interrupted their conversation. He is a Class A outsider. Let me tell you more that outsiders are clerics who are not registered with the organization. Clergy, they act according to their will freely. Seeing that magic stones can increase magic power and buy them back quite easily, the main guy decided to inquire about whether he wanted to buy magic stones from this outsider, but he only sold stones to members of the guild. In this evil area, he will not sell to people from other places. The evil Driver takes this opportunity to invite Cassian to come here and reside so he can become a member of this evil area. If he passes the test, he can even become the boss of the area. Hey, and take Driver's place as the boss here. He continuously enticed Cassian to join this evil area with sweet words such as, every month Cassian will receive a salary as a maintenance fee, a decent amount of money when you think about it. The number Cassian couldn't imagine was that much. I don't really know what the evil Driver's purpose is. He wants Cassian to come here to live and replace his boss. He seems to be an untrustworthy person, because inside a person is often not as friendly as their mouth shows. After a while of baiting our main guy, it was already dark. Cassian and Driver walked out. Here they encounter many other evil people at work. Just like evil people, there are also evil people. Not everyone is bad. There are evil people who have never harmed anyone before. There are many types of villains, those who follow the rules, and there are those who disregard the rules and do their own thing, like the bomb villain and the blood villain we saw in the previous parts. Right now at the restaurant where Cassian's sister is working as a manager, an employee called her to the boss's room. He was looking for her. Because of her spirit of working hard and being sociable, especially working without any mistakes, she was invited by the headquarters in the US to go there for training to improve her skills. I'm just very surprised that the opportunity to advance my career came so quickly. I'm really happy to hold this invitation letter in my hand. Maybe I will have to leave Cassian for a while to fly to America. I am a little worried and insecure about this brother. I don't know if he can take care of himself. When about to leave the evil area, Cassian encountered the Black Hand. Perhaps he had deliberately stood here to wait for him, because the last time he punched him like a stepchild, he wanted revenge. Knowing that he couldn't solo with Cassian, he called more of his accomplices, and this time he wanted to repay all the humiliation that the main brother had brought to him since their previous encounter. The Black Hand villain held his breath, tensed his buttocks, and prepared to transform to attack Cassian. Then suddenly a barrel of wine flew right in front of him, blocking what he was about to do. That is Juak, a female villain living in this area. She is a physical assassin, but unfortunately she is only a B-class villain. She is an alcoholic. Also in a state of ecstasy, but her actions at this time were correct. Juka just had time to stop the black guy from going against the rules of the evil area. No fighting here. Right now, the evil Black Crow is standing upstairs, observing their every move. She also told the black guy not to fight here, to let Cassian leave because Cassian might be angry later. Is a member of this evil sector. After a good night's sleep, Cassian woke up early the next morning to jog. He wanted to improve his health, especially his body's endurance. He wore sandbags on his feet to run, perhaps because he watched Shaolin movies. If you practice a lot, you should imitate and practice. Cassian needs to focus on training. In the future he may not fight one-on-one battles but may have to fight one-on-three battles, even one-on-one battles, so endurance is essential. Week. Within the next 10 days Cassian will take part in a test. To join the evil fighting zone it will be one-on-one and he must fight all 3 matches. If Mr. Tone Tang wins then he will have the right to challenge the leader, i.e. Evil Driver. If he wins he will be the new leader of this evil area. But this is not the reason for him to practice hard. His main goal is to become strong to take revenge on the Lampas organization and the 2 people who killed him. This is the path he has chosen. No matter how difficult and strenuous it is, he will get it done. Returning home after running 10 kilometers, he couldn't see his sister anywhere. Maybe she hadn't woken up yet. His belongings were still messy everywhere, so Cassian had to clean up again. While cleaning, he accidentally saw a letter. Invitation from the headquarters where his sister worked. Just as he was about to open it and read it secretly, his sister woke up. Seeing this scene, she quickly jerked back and felt sorry for him. He almost lost it, but just by looking at the information on the envelope, Cassian guessed that this was invitation letter to go to America. Cassian's older sister doesn't want to go to America because she's afraid Cassian won't know how to take care of himself, afraid he won't know how to cook, wash clothes, or even take out the trash. He doesn't know, because he's always been a student. Or being bullied, he has never done that before. But that lazy and shy younger brother has passed away a long time ago. Now only his body and mind are left. Cassian encouraged his sister to go to America to train. He was fine staying at home alone. So in the end, Cassian's older sister still decided to go to America. With Cassian's strong and enthusiastic support, on the day she left for the airport, she did not forget to tell him to eat well, not to stay up too late, and especially pay attention to your phone because she will call you often and continuously. After sending his sister off to America, Cassian goes to the evil area, where he will undergo a test to join into this community. According to the content of this test, Cassian must fight 3 matches. The winner will be when one side surrenders or loses the ability to fight. There is a rule that one cannot kill the opponent. This is just a test. It's not a life and death battle. Cassian's first match will be against 3 drunk girls. This woman is famous for her hand-to-hand combat, strength and endurance. She is a master of close combat with a body trained for combat. She is a smart fighter and knows how to use her advantage. Her overwhelming speed did not harm Juak at all. According to the muzzled young men watching, she was an opponent who was considered to cause many difficulties for Cassian after hearing the starting signal despite carrying a barrel of wine. The giant one-armed man rushed straight towards Cassian with a gesture. After hearing the starting signal, Juak carried a large wine barrel with one hand and rushed straight towards Cassian with a confident laugh. Avoid her attacks and tie her legs. In a moment of 1/10 of a second, Cassian disappeared right before Juak's eyes. Juak panicked when he couldn't see his opponent. She looked around and couldn't see Cassian. Perhaps Cassian was above. Juak rolled his eyes upward, but there was no sign of his opponent. Then suddenly, Cassian suddenly appeared right in front of her. As fast as lightning he launched a Fury Dragon kick straight at Juak's avatar, making her stunned and black-faced, too fast, too dangerous. In just half a second of the first game, Cassian knocked out his opponent. The villains who witnessed this match were completely amazed by Cassian's power and dominion. The villain driver held his head in boredom, and the other villains had their eyes wide open because they felt completely shocked. Truly shocked, the Juak girl lay there with her mouth open, her eyes rolled back, unconscious after just a single blow. The person who was considered Cassian's formidable opponent could not withstand one of his blows. What if the person in the area there is no one in this evil person who can be worthy of being Cassian's opponent? Before the first match took place, the black-handed villain showed a tiger report a weasel attitude, but when the match ended, his face only showed shock and worry. He couldn't believe it. Cassian defeated Juak, a villain with the best physical strength and endurance in this evil region. Cassian stood there and spoke loudly towards the remaining villains, "Don't waste my time, whoever is next, come up quickly, whoever wants to be beaten, come up." I heard those provocative words but no one dared to interact with Cassian, because they knew he was too strong. While no one dared to step forward, from somewhere a red arrow flew close to Cassian's body. The arrow shooter did not want to sneak attack England. He shot the arrow just to attract the attention of Cassian and everyone. Perhaps he will be Cassian's next opponent in this second match. Is no one else, he is the red-eyed villain, an archer class with hunting attributes. With full confidence he turned towards Cassian. The greatest hunter in the red-eyed villain area will be his next opponent. According to him, and so the second match was about to begin. Without saying a word, from the roof of the red-eyed house, an arrow shot out, making the whole corner of the sky red. This arrow rushed towards Cassian. It has the special ability to find and chase the target until it hits. It's okay to reach the target, no matter how hard the target tries to avoid it. The arrow chased close to Cassian's ass and was about to penetrate his ass, when suddenly Cassian changed direction. He kicked hard into the building in front of him and flipped backwards to avoid the arrow, due to the close distance and action. Cassian's jump was so fast that the arrow did not have time to change direction and crashed straight into the building. I thought it was good to avoid that arrow, but no, that arrow only used to force Cassian. It pushed Cassian into his sights at close range. Cassian suddenly realized that the situation was unfavorable for him, but it would be too late. Already, the red eyes were there right behind him. He was in a ready position, the arrow was assembled, his bow hand was also tense, he just needed to release his hand and it was done. That's right, he had been waiting for this moment for a long time. This moment can defeat a monster like Cassian. The fast-paced arrow was shot. Cassian had no time to dodge. He stood still there, enduring the battle. Perhaps his high speed did not help him dodge in time. Only his ability to withstand the attack could help him stay standing to continue the battle. This war. The red-eyed villain jumped back, onto the roof of a taller building to keep a safe distance, in case Cassian could still fight after the attack just now. He also seemed a bit disappointed. Hopefully, before Cassian could show anything, he was already hit by his attack. Still in his familiar fighting style, Cassian rushed straight up from the rubble of the attack just now. He appeared from behind the red-eyed villain. He was surprised and didn't understand what was going on. Cassian was still alive, grinning. Not only that, the main guy wasn't in any pain. He was swinging his hand to prepare to punch this guy in the middle of his profile picture, but he was so surprised. He surrendered unconditionally, making Cassian wonder if he was normal. He hadn't even gotten a shot yet and already asked to lose. Already. It's easy to understand. He is a gunner whose fighting style is to stand at a distance and poke and destroy the enemy. The vital thing for him is a safe distance when fighting. He must keep a safe enough distance. Only then can he fight. When the opponent approaches him, he will definitely lose. In fact, this villain is quite smart. He surrendered because he knew he would lose no matter what. If he surrendered early, he would be less likely to receive a punch from Cassian. If he had surrendered just a second too late, his mouth would have been broken. 10 points for this guy's calculating ability. Competing with Cassian is not Red Eye's main goal. He also has another job assigned by the evil driver, which is to give Cassian a desire-inhibiting patch. Driver doesn't want anyone to get too seriously injured in the matches. Friendly matches like this. He wanted Cassian to use this patch to prevent him from going crazy and punching his hand until it turned black. As for Cassian, he happily accepted Driver's request. Actually, he didn't want to kill anyone in the evil area. Chief. Meanwhile, the remaining villains are guessing to see if the red-eyed characters have a chance to win or not, although without saying it directly, everyone knows what the outcome of the match will be. They have enough ability to realize that, in this third match, no one is capable of being Cassian's opponent. If 1 against 1 is not possible, then 3 against 1, they intend to fight with the main brother. Regardless of the rules here. While wondering whether to break the rules to beat Cassian's board or not, Juak appeared. After finishing counting the numbers on the board, she also woke up. She heard the story of his father going to post the table. Then pump it in more, until it's as strong as a lion and even drags the whole herd to hunt deer. It sounded reasonable, plus the fact that if you were solo with Cassian, it would be obvious to have a black hand and become a mobile punching bag, so they decided to combine with Ms. Juak to organize a group fight against Cassian. Not only did she have to pump these 3 young men to beat the Cassian Council, Ms. Juak also invited some of her close allies to join in. Perhaps after the recent defeat, her bitterness was rising. To the extreme, she used tricks to break the rules just to avenge her recent defeat.